Today we would like to talk about the immigration. Immigration is the international movement of people into a destination country of which they aren't natives or where they don't possess citizenship in order to settle or reside there, especially as permanent residents or naturalized citizens, or to take up employment as a migrant worker or temporarily as a foreign worker. Immigrants are motivated to leave their former countries of citizenship or habitual residence for a variety of reasons, including a lack of local access to resources, a desire for economic prosperity, to find or engage in paid work, to better their standard of living, family reunification, retirement, climate, or environmentally include migration, escape from prejudice, conflict or natural disaster, or simply the wish to change one's quality of life. Commuters, tourists, and other short-term stays in a destination country don't fall under the definition of immigration or migration. Seasonal labor immigration is sometimes included. In historic times, since about 3000 before Christian era, various clearly identifiable groups of people have moved from area to area of the globe. There are several different senses in which such people can be identified as groups, but few involve racial distinctions. In prehistory, the movement of a group is usually evident through traces of a shared language, which the migrants bring to a new place. The spread of a cultural influence, such as styles of pottery or religious practices, will show that there was a close link between regions, but won't necessarily prove permanent migration. Sometimes, large numbers of people arrive so suddenly, and with such hostile intent that they are unmistakably recognizable as a group. They usually have a close tribal link with each other, and their names are likely to be remembered with distaste. The Huns or the Vandals. On other occasions, identifiable groups are moved in large numbers against their will. The transfer of Africans to Americans in the slave trade is the most notable example, and here is comes closest to being a defining factor. But groups of voluntary immigrants to America, the Irish, for example, remain almost as identifiable in later generations and have a similar influence on the patterns of history. There are infinitely variable facets to the movement of people. Colonial ambitions take the Spaniards to America, where they exploited the Indian population, but also interbreed with them. The same impulse takes the British to America and Australia, where they persecute the original inhabitants, but themselves remain separate and exclusive. Persecution causes the Jews to move again and again during the centuries.
The example of immigration nowadays. First, the Rohingya. The Rohingya are an ethnic Muslim minority group living primarily in Myanmar. They practice a Sufi-inflected variation of Sunni Islam. The Rohingya differ from Myanmar's dominant Buddhist group ethnically, linguistically, and religiously.
The Rohingyas' desperation stems from decades of persecution and discrimination in Myanmar, where they are effectively denied citizenship under national law. Waves of violence against the Rohingya, most recently erupting in 2012, have forced tens of thousands into overcrowded camps where they live in desperate conditions. It was a big news in May 2015. Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand initially pushed overcrowded vessels back from their shores and prevented thousands of desperate passengers from disembarking. The Rohingya were kept in inhuman and degrading conditions during their journey. Boats were severely overcrowded, with people forced to sit in extremely cramped positions, sometimes for months on end. Following international criticism, Indonesia and Malaysia eventually agreed to admit a number of asylum seekers on their condition that another country accept them by May 2016.
Next, the Syrian. Syria's civil war is the worst humanitarian crisis of our time. Half the country's pre-war population, more than 11 million people, have been killed or forced to flee their homes. The conflict in Syria continues to be by far the biggest driver of migration.
Families are struggling to survive inside Syria or make a new home in neighboring countries. Some Syrians know people in neighboring countries who they can stay with, but many host families were already struggling on meager incomes and do not have the room or finances to help as the crisis drags on. Others are risking their lives on the way to Europe, hoping to find acceptance and opportunity. Thousands of Syrians flee their country every day. They often decide to finally escape after seeing their neighborhoods bombed and family members killed. And harsh winters and hot summers make life as a refugee even more difficult. At times, the effects of the conflict can seem overwhelming.
According to the United Nations, more than half of all Syrian refugees are under the age of 18. Most have been out of school for months, if not years.
The youngest are confused and scared by their experiences, lacking the sense of safety and home they need. Older children are forced to grow up too fast, finding work and taking care of their family in desperate circumstances.
What Americans actually think about immigration on immigration reform rhetoric has often been out of sync with public opinion, despite roughly 3/4 of Americans supporting the goal behind President Obama's executive action on immigration. Obama's new immigration plan has run into repeat Republican roadblocks. Republican governors in 26 states are suing the Obama administration, claiming that the order exceeds Obama authority. A Republican appointed judge in Texas ruled in favor of the GOP governors and issued an injunction halting the policy implementation. Republican congressional leaders are pursuing a parallel track to block the implementation of the executive action. In Southeast Asia, persecuted Rohingya refugees from Myanmar suffer horrific abuse at sea. The daily physical abuse faced by Rohingya who were trapped on boats in the Bay of Bengal and Andaman Sea is almost too horrific to put into words. They have escaped Myanmar but has only traded one nightmare for another. Even children were not spared this abuse. The Rohingya are so desperate that they will continue to risk their lives at sea until the root cause of this crisis are addressed. The Myanmar government must immediately end its persecution of the Rohingya. Without cooperation between governments to combat human trafficking, grave human rights abuse will again be perpetrated against some of Southeast Asia's most vulnerable and desperate people. Anna Chief refugee researcher at Amnesty International said.
An immigration policy is any policy of a state that deals with the transit of people across the border into the country, but especially those that intend to work and stay in the country. Immigration policies can range from allowing no migration at all to allowing most types of migration, such as free immigration. Often racial or religious bias is tied to immigration policy. For example, a country might only allow Commonwealth citizens admission. Ethnic relation policy within a country can usually be broadly categorized as either assimilationist or multiculturalist.
Nowadays, immigration policy is often closely related to other policies and issues. An important aspect of immigration policy is the treatment of refugees, more or less helpless or stateless people who throw themselves on the mercy of the state they enter, seeking refuge from post-treatment in their country of origin. Fifth, the rise of terrorism worldwide. Another major concern is the national security of nations that let people cross borders. The belief is that terrorists can come from overseas. These concerns often lead to intrusive security searches and tighter visa requirements, which can discourage immigration, temporary visitors, and even movement within countries or birth within countries. There is often pressure on nations to loosen immigration policy or inspections to enable tourism and relocation of business to a country from a destabilized region.
Immigration wasn't really a problem a long time ago. Many countries welcomed immigrants because they needed workers. The USA, Australia, and Canada encouraged millions of people to come and live in their countries. Today, however, immigration is becoming a problem. Many countries are trying to control immigration. At election time, it is a major issue. Immigration today is big business. More and more people from poor countries want to live in rich countries. It is easier to travel nowadays because of cheap transport and more open borders. People risk their lives to get a chance of starting a new life in a rich country. This can cause anger in the countries immigrants go to. It is an issue that will be with us forever, I think.